Hey guys, welcome to the Max Invest YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Apple stock. We're going to be predicting where Apple can actually go in the next few years, and we're going to be taking a look at a couple of really bullish announcements for Apple that suggest the stock could go even higher. In my fundamental analysis video on Apple that I did a couple of months back, I suggested that Apple stock is prepared to go a lot higher and is prepared to enter a 5G supercycle. This has already begun to happen. Apple was just $110 a share a couple of months ago, and now it is $150 a share. As we can see on this chart, Apple has a market capitalization of $2.5 trillion. When Apple hit $1 trillion, many suggested, hey, Apple can't go even higher. However, Apple continues to go higher and higher and higher, hitting $1 trillion, $2 trillion, and it's approaching $3 trillion. I really do think the sky is the limit for a stock like this. So, without further ado, let's take a look at some of the really bullish announcements that has happened to Apple over the past couple of months. Of course, if you enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and remember nothing in this video is financial advice. We're just going over the announcements that have happened for your educational purposes only. So, let's jump into it. There has been a lot of recent announcements from the Apple company and a lot of recent bits of news for Apple that look very, very bullish. And they do suggest that $2.5 trillion is not the limit for Apple. In fact, Apple has a lot of room to go a lot higher. So, what are these announcements? Well, it seems like Apple is going to have some very good supply chain management from here on out. Apple is striving to manufacture 90 million of the newest iPhones in 2021. Now, 90 million is an absolutely huge number of iPhones that are being manufactured, especially when we think that the newest iPhones are going to cost $1,000+. So they will be making a ton of money off these new iPhones, which will be very costly. Of course, with Apple, we must also remember they're also going to sell a ton of old iPhones, which will have a cheaper price but be sold by Apple as well. The iPhone 11, the iPhone 10, the iPhone 9, etc. So it does seem like Apple are going to have well over 100 million iPhones that are going to be sold this year, which is a massive amount. Historically, phone companies can be quite difficult to supply. It can be quite hard to manufacture all of these phones. However, Apple doesn't seem like this is going to be a challenge or a problem this year, which is always great. Apple are also reportedly preparing to boost shipments by 20% compared to 2020's levels. This shows that all of the supply chain issues that happened due to COVID in 2020 are essentially gone, and it does look like Apple are going to have a massive boost in shipments, and the whole supply side of the company really does look great. Moreover, Apple is expected to reveal a whole bunch of new iPhones in this September, and this is more exciting than most years. You might be thinking, hey, Apple reveals a new iPhone every single year. What's going to be different this year? Well, the primary difference this year is 5G is coming out. 5G towers are already being put everywhere, and it does look like 5G is going to come out. Of course, Apple's new iPhones will all be 5G compatible. I do think a lot of their old iPhones will also be 5G compatible, but these new iPhones should be very technologically advanced with the new 5G developments and a whole bunch of other new features. Now, 5G is so bullish for Apple because 5G is essentially going to make data speeds go up 10x very quickly and eventually 100x over the next 5 or so years. So, it does seem like 5G is going to do very well for Apple. We also know historically, if we look at Apple, it's actually a bit cyclical. It does go in cycles somewhat. When 4G is coming out, Apple booms. When 3G was coming out, Apple booms. When 2G, 1G, 0G, negative 1G, any G that comes out, Apple seems to go up a substantial amount. And right now, 5G is proving no different. This is why I wanted to invest in Apple earlier this year. It's because I knew 2021 there would be a 5G supercycle, and I think we're only just getting started. 5G has already begun rolling out, however, in nowhere near the capacity it will be. I do believe that Apple wants about 50+ million iPhones to have 5G on it at the end of this year, and in the next coming years this number should double, triple, quadruple. So, 5G are very bullish for Apple, and this is one of the big reasons behind my investment thesis for Apple. There also has been some other minor bits of news that have came out for Apple. Apple are launching a buy now, pay later service. Now this is, if you're in Australia, this is sort of like Afterpay. If you're in the US, this is kind of like Sezzle. All you really do is you buy something and you pay for it later. You don't need to pay any interest on it and all of that kind of stuff. You just buy something, pay for it later. Personally, I don't see that this service has too much utility. However, it has absolutely exploded in the last year. One of Australia's companies, Afterpay, has gone from just about $10 per share to highs of $150 per share in just 1 year. So, buy now, pay later is absolutely exploding, and Apple are getting in on this. Of course, this is very easy for Apple to do, as they already have Apple Pay and they already have an Apple credit card in their partnership with Goldman Sachs. So, buy now, pay later does seem like a good vertical for Apple to expand in, and I am very bullish on this. If you know a lot about Apple, you know that they're essentially in everything. Apple Music, Apple TV, and I do think it's a good idea to continue going into as much things as possible. Apple have a ton of money, and they just have so much money to spend. They should literally go into every industry they can, and to see they're still doing this is great. Apple continues to develop technologically, and I am very bullish because of this for the future. Now, the first chart that I want to start with is Apple's long-term price. What has Apple done since 1985? And if you look at this chart, it looks pretty good. Apple have been insane since 1985, and Apple have been one of the best investments ever. In fact, Apple continue to be the best investments ever. Apple was the best investment in 2019, 2018, 2020, 2017, 2016. Every single year, Apple has been an amazing investment. If we take a look back at history, we can see back in November of 1983, Apple didn't essentially move until 2003. Now, we know why Apple didn't really move that much overall and just fluctuated around the same price level. This was because in the 80s, Apple was not big. Computer companies were still getting off the ground, and it was very unproven. They were not making any money, and this is why it didn't move. However, a real something happened in 2003. This was when the world was ready for technology, and you can see that since 2003, at these lows all the way till now, Apple has appreciated by 563,000%. That's right, 563,000%. This really has been one of the best investments of the century. Apple has gone absolutely insane since the bottoms of 2003, and what's even better is they've continued to go up with very little pullbacks. Apple have just been on a straight bull run to the moon. You can see Apple have essentially only had a few minor pullbacks. They pulled back around 50% here in 2009, they had a pullback in 2012, and they had a pullback in 2015. But if we look at the general trend on this chart, Apple just continue to go up, and they don't stop. It really has been one of the best investments. Of course, back in 2009 and 2010, everyone knew of Apple. iPhones were coming out, iPods were coming out, and everyone kind of had them. And of course, Apple was at a multi-billion-dollar market cap back then. But many people said, will Apple go higher? How can Apple go higher than $5.80 in 2010? Everybody's using Apple. It's already done all of its growth. However, Apple has proven these people wrong, and Apple does continue to go higher and higher. Now, the reason for this is because Apple keep innovating. Saying Apple is only a phone company is wrong. Apple have Apple Music, they have Apple TV, they have AirPods, they're even planning to possibly expand into electric vehicles, and they continue to innovate. This is why I think Apple is an investment you can hold on to forever. You could hold on to your Apple stock all the way up to 2100, and they'll be doing more and more and continuing to earn above market returns. So, that's essentially Apple's history, and they do continue going up. What about in the past year? If we just look at a micro time frame, which is about 1 year in my opinion, I don't want to go too micro. We can see that Apple have done very well. They were hit hard by the COVID crash, however they continue to respect the bull market support band, and they generally trend upwards. Apple continue to just trend upwards slowly and steadily, and this does look very great for the company. In my personal opinion, the future of Apple does look bright. We are entering into a 5G supercycle, and I am expecting Apple's earnings over the next couple of years to continue getting stronger and stronger and better and better. I think the only thing that could stop Apple right now is a market crash, and I don't think a market crash is going to happen for at least 4 years in the stock market. So we can see that on a very micro time frame, Apple has gone on another recent boom from $120 all the way up to $149 in a very small space of time, which is a solid 20% return. Apple are becoming a bit extended from their bull market support band. However, I do think they'll be able to hold this. I think Apple stock is going to generally trend up for the rest of the year, and this is mainly based on the fundamentals. However, even though this is based on the fundamentals, this is also based on the data. A lot of people think Apple is a $2.5 trillion market cap, so it can't move. However, people have always had the same concerns. They said all the way back here in 2019, when Apple had a $1 trillion market cap, how is it going to get any bigger? However, Apple continues to break highs and is up 180% since this time. So I do think it's highly likely that we see Apple reaching well over a $3 trillion market cap by the end of the year, and I do think Apple can get to the $200 range very easily. $200 is about a 40 or a 35% increase from where Apple is currently, and I think that is highly likely over the next couple of years. As we can see, it's happened before many times for Apple. They do tend to appreciate at these similar rates. Apple have had periods where they get overextended from the bull market support band, come back, but continue to trend upwards constantly. So I do think $200 by the end of 2021 or into 2022 is definitely going to be highly possible for Apple stock, just because of the bullish future they have ahead of them. I do think in the short term it is slightly overextended right now. However, these stocks can keep going, these FANG stocks. So overall, Apple's been one of the best investments of the last 20 years and has risen to be one of the biggest company or the biggest company in the entire world. However, I think Apple will continue this bull run, and Apple is going to always be the biggest company in the world, similar to where Amazon will be. I think Amazon has a potential to overtake Apple. However, I do think these massive FANG stocks will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. These stocks continue to grow at a rapid rate. They don't need to pay dividends whatsoever. They still well and truly outperform every single dividend stock in the market and continue to do so. So I am very bullish on the Apple for the future. Of course, if you enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. It really would be much appreciated if you could help out the subscriber count and send it to the moon like Apple stock. Thanks for watching the video.